Okay, so the latest Tottenham transfer news concerning Hakim Ziyech, who's been linked to Tottenham, and also Christian Eriksen update. Now, Hakim Ziyech, a lot of people have mentioned him in the comments, and to me as a player that Spurs should be looking at, and they have been linked to him along with Liverpool. And I'll go into a full look at him as usual, who he is, where he's been, what's his stats like, and quite unbelievable stats, really. He really fills all the buckets on the stats. But there is a big red warning flag regarding this player that I'm sure the clubs are looking at. So I'll come to that a bit later. But first, Christian Eriksen. Now, still no movement. Levy's still not got his checkbook out, still not received any money in for Levy. There's talk that Eriksen could be staying, still could be going. Now, obviously, his first target was Real Madrid. That's where, he really wanted to go. I can't see that one happening now. Eden Hazard, that's all confirmed and signed for Real Madrid now. Paul Pogba is still using the press to manipulate a move out of Man United to his first choice, which is Real Madrid. I don't think they need Christian Eriksen and Eden Hazard in the same team, and certainly if they get Pogba, who's Zidane's first choice, then I don't think there's any room there for Eriksen. Now it's a real difficult one if you're Tottenham and Daniel Levy and Pochettino, and I've got mixed thoughts on it. A player that's sort of said they want to leave. And it may well not happen because there may not be the clubs that he wants to go to coming in for him with a big fat check for Levy. So how do you play that as a manager, as a chairman in Levy? Really mixed thoughts. Part of me feels that you should just let him go and try and sell him off to whoever now that. There's the risk of him going on a free next year. But interested to hear your thoughts in the comments, what you think of Eriksen and whether Levy should really try and force a sale out there, even if it means at a slightly lower price. Now, we'll have a quick look at Hakim Ziyech of Ajax. Very interesting player, but a big red flag. So he's aged 26. He's a winger with Ajax, and I think all Spurs fans will have seen him, in great detail in the Champions League last year. Very, very exciting player, quite unpredictable at times, but you can't doubt his talent, and he really is an exciting player. Now, Ajax sporting director Mark Overmars has said he's free to leave this summer. There's a little bit of debate as to whether he's got a release clause in there of 25 million or not. I understand he hasn't, but Ajax are indicating that he will be able to go for somewhere in the region of 25-30 million. Which, on the face of it, looks an absolute bargain in today's market. But let's just have a little look. There is, like I say, there's some real red flags there that need to be looked at, and we'll cover those shortly. But we'll just have a look at where he's been. He's not come through the Ajax system. He joined a club called, I think it's Heerenveen in the Netherlands, age 14. Broke into their senior side, age 19. After playing through their academy. Transferred to FC 20. I think he was 21 in the 14-15 season when he went to FC 20. 2 years there, some good stats, some good play. 2 years with FC 20. Moved on to Ajax, and he's had 3 solid years with Ajax. And obviously he's come through with a good bunch of lads there in De Ligt, De Jong. He's come in with a good team, but he has produced the figures, and it's his assists that really, seem to catch the eye for me. But we'll have a look at his stats anyway. FC 20 back in the 14-15 season, 40 appearances, 17 goals, 17 assists. Following season at FC 20, 15-16, 34 appearances, 17 goals, 12 assists. So well into double figures on both assists and goals. Transferred to Ajax, about 11 million euros, we think, in the 16-17 season. 46 appearances, 12 goals, 20 assists. In the 17-18 season, 39 appearances, 9 goals, 18 assists. And a terrific year last year, 18-19 season, where everybody saw him in the Champions League. But 49 appearances, 21 goals, 24 assists. Internationally, he's a Moroccan, plays for the Morocco international team. 23 appearances, 10 goals, 4 assists. So you can see he's delivering the goods on the pitch in terms of stats. Now, as a player, he tends to play on the right wing. Very exciting. He's quite happy to dribble, unleash shots. You can see from his assist figures, he's quite happy to play the ball in and create chances for other people. He's just very exciting. He's a little bit unpredictable, and we'll have a look at the downsides of his play. He can be a little bit sloppy. Doesn't always make the right decision, and he can be a bit frustrating for fans and for the manager on some of his decision making. Very quick, so sometimes you feel like he's rushing everything. The other thing that really came to mind when I looked at him was he doesn't seem to get back into defensive shape when the team lose the ball, and I think as a manager, that must really frustrate you when a player, you see it with other players. I think another example that we all see in this country is Ozil at Arsenal. Again, people feel like he doesn't work back and get into shape, but that's a criticism that has been labelled at Ziyech. Now, onto the non-playing side, and these are the big red flags. He has tended to fall out with everybody through his career. He was the captain of 20 back in 2016, and he had a real go at the fans and the club. He was quite derogatory with his comments towards the fans and the club, and that really engineered his move to Ajax. And could you say, well, he did it? Now, Ajax, you've seen the stats, but in that time at Ajax, the fans have got on his back a little bit with some of his sort of sloppy play and his willingness to get back into shape and work on the defensive side. And he has come under abuse. And again, he's made lots of comments about the fans, and he called them all sorts in the press. So he doesn't really endear himself to the fans of the club. Frustrates the hell out of managers. The Moroccan international coach, he left him out. I think it was the African Nations Cup final last year. He didn't pick him in the squad, and you can see from a player with his stats, he really should have been in that squad. But he's the sort of player that I don't think a manager can rely on when he needs to. And the Moroccan coach said, he's going to be spending some time on the bench, and he doesn't want somebody that's going to sulk and throw his toys out of the pram. So I think there's issues there behind the scene, that he's one of these players that can really spark with some energy on the pitch on a good day, and he can do terrific things. On a bad day, he's going to just wind everybody up, and when a manager then leaves him on the bench or doesn't pick him for the next thing, he's going to cause chaos in your dressing room. He's going to cause a bad atmosphere. Now at Spurs, they haven't been signing players in the last couple of transfer windows. Not a lot of money's been sent, so inherently they've got a good settled squad with a good team spirit. And you sort of feel with Ziyech that it could be a bit like throwing a hand grenade into the changing room. So I personally wouldn't touch him. I think his moments of brilliance really do catch the eye, but there's too much history there. Really, all the three clubs he's been at, he's virtually fallen out with the fans and wound the manager up, and hence why a player with that sort of bucket full of stats is probably going to go for the 25-30 million thing. I can't see Spurs taking him. I know they're heavily linked and looking at him. I know Liverpool are linked to looking at him. I can't see him going to any of the top four clubs. I think he's the sort of player that can be very handy for a club, maybe a West Ham or maybe even a Man United that aren't in the Champions League, can't really attract the absolute best players they want, but they want somebody that can provide some brilliance, some stats on the pitch. And if he's managed correctly, managed rightly, who knows? He might mature at 26. You could say that he's coming into his prime. But I think a move maybe to a team out of the top four is more likely. for somebody like him. Let me know in the comments what you think of him, Hakim Ziyech. You know, like I say, superb player, but there's big red warning flags there. History doesn't tend to change, and you know, I'd be interested to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. If you like the videos, like the channel, please subscribe. I appreciate the support. Thank you for watching.